Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm Julia DeNey. I currently live in Boston, but I'll be moving to New York City in a few weeks. And I am the founder of Sense-ational You. We make adaptive apparel for autistic children who need help with sensory regulation to succeed throughout their days. And I'm a former special education teacher.
Awesome. So how did you get this idea? Like, is it from your teaching or like what gave you the idea to actually start this company?
Yeah, they kind of grew together. So I majored in fashion design in college and separately started volunteering with a local autism preschool. And they brought up a lot of clothing challenges to me that their students faced and their children faced coming from parents. So it really started as an independent study that I didn't see becoming a company at the time. And then I graduated into the pandemic in 2020 and started working in special education in an autism preschool that was actually different than the one I volunteered at. And they kind of grew together. I really didn't want to stop making clothing and got to see firsthand how valuable they could be in the school system and for kids at large.
Awesome. So like were your students like some of your first customers, you could say?
Yeah, they definitely did a lot of prototyping, trialing for me. I worked with the occupational therapists at our schools to really hone in on certain details. And even throughout our website and social media, you'll see a lot of my old students are my models that I got to reconnect with and let them wear the clothes settings and just get like hang out with them. So that's where all our models come from.
For sure. So I guess like for people who aren't aware, like can you explain, I guess, more in detail, like what the difference is between regular clothes versus the clothes that you're selling, I guess, like on your website?
Absolutely. Yeah. So a general overview would be what makes them sensory friendly at large. And when people say that, really what it means is that there are no tags, no bulky seams on the inside, irritating fabrics, anything that's going to cause that tactile discomfort that's really common. And then I took it a step further. So when I say sensory clothing at large, they have added adapted features that help support kids throughout the day. So we have sound reduction built into our hoods. We have compression built into our t-shirts that's fully adjustable. So it's not something you have to take on and off throughout the day when you need that input. We use magnetic closures so kids can dress themselves and have that independence and autonomy over their sensory environments while taking these clothes on and off. And they kind of make a fun built-in fidget. So that's another kind of added sensory tool you get in that way.
So I guess like as of today, like is your company mostly selling in retail or D2C, Amazon? Like where's most of your business?
Yeah, so we're completely D2C. It's all sold on our website, which is also linked to a Facebook and Instagram shop. So some people can shop right there through our content. And we're slowly expanding there to be able to be in other places and meet customers where they are. But for now, we're totally D2C.
Awesome. So how do you go and like market or even like discover your customers? Is it like, running ads on social media? Do you do like meetups in person? What does that look like?
Yeah, we do a combination. And I think that's something right now, as a small business, you're always discovering and always trying to find new customers and reach where they are. For us, a lot of our connections so far and a lot of customers come from organic social media, and being able to highlight the different features in our clothing has really drawn in people who tag each other, tag friends whose kids might like it, and grow the awareness that way and draw people in. But we go to small events too, like different tabling events we'll do, or, there's an autism resource center near me that we tabled for holiday. So we try to get in front of people in person as well, but that's definitely a smaller, more localized crowd. So to reach people at large, we rely heavily on social media for now and are exploring other partnerships and speaking with occupational therapy clinics so that the therapists themselves are able to recommend it to parents when they're needing support. So we're going at it from a lot of different angles, but yeah, as you said, social media is definitely a big one.
But for social media, is it more so like you said, I mean, like it's pretty much more like, was it organic social, TikTok, Instagram, or is it like, have you done lots of paid advertising as well?
It's largely organic across Reels on both platforms and their TikTok. But we definitely do some paid as well. For paid, we largely do lead generation. So trying to capture those emails. And then we have a newsletter that goes out. Some is focused on our clothing benefits. Some are general education for sensory and other activities to try, or linking in other resources for other areas that sensory kids might be struggling.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's like a very like out of the box approach. I feel like so many brands are saying like, buy now, but you're like collecting emails and having this more so like driven drip campaign and giving information to parents. And that way people are signed up, and eventually that they might not be customers right away, but eventually that they'll come and buy.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think for so many parents, especially for kids that are younger, a lot of it for them is, overwhelming and they're not sure and they're just looking for resources and information. So we always want to be that source for them, whether it's through our newsletter or through the blog, like being able to provide other resources, even if it's not our clothing that's a perfect solution for them right now. We still want to be there to be able to support them and their kids that are struggling with different sensory needs.
Awesome. So like, how do you focus and measure customer lifetime value in your business?
Yeah, that's a good one. Definitely because we're still so new, a lot of it right now is we'll eventually be looking a lot at returning customer rate and repeat purchasers. And right now everything's so new that that's not quite something we can directly look at yet. Kids aren't even sizing out of the size they just bought yet in the process. So it's definitely slower, but I definitely think that we're trying to provide value in all these other areas as well that you won't directly see through sales. So, making sure that we're seeing that, we have an engagement on these emails that are going out and not a high unsubscribe rate and those sorts of things that show that customers are really engaging with and valuing the content we're putting out for them. And very similarly with social media, making sure that engagement is higher, you're still receiving positive feedback on that content and it feels very value add to the customers.
But do you look at releasing new products or different lines of clothing, things like that? That way it's like if somebody bought one thing that they might go and buy something else.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We are currently even working on kind of those new batches of products to send out. So being so small, that's not something we've done a lot of yet, but are definitely this year will be seeing. And it'll be really cool to kind of see how those metrics change as these new products come out. And we're able to say, hey, if you loved it in this color, here it is again in a new fabric or a new color, whatever it is, and make sure they're still engaging with the product and want a full wardrobe of what we're offering. But definitely even across styles, we try to push that, even bundling them all in an outfit. So you get a discounted rate if you try all of our products. And that way they can get a sense of more than one item and they're kind of motivated to do that. And then we can gauge based on their feedback what new items they might be interested in to bring them back in.
For sure. So in terms of your content, like what you're actually posting, is it more so like parents or kids or just like general pictures? Like how do you get people engaged to actually like click on the link and put their email address?
Totally. Yeah. A lot of it, our most successful ones for sure, are just the ones that very simply focus very quickly on all our different, very unique features. Because I think usually within that, what I'm noticing is people really connect with one of them. And then they're like, okay, the second thing you mentioned, say it's sound reduction, like where do I get that? And they want the direct link to that. So being able to just put out their content that just really quickly visually, whether it's on models or just on the mannequins that I have and I just create new content of really quickly like this one zoomed in feature. Because there's a lot going on in the clothing, but being able to break it down into spelling out all the unique features has been our most successful way to do it. I also put out, other educational content or sensory friendly ways to, have a great holiday season around that time and these sorts of things. But for the ads, really just being straightforward and showing them and right up front, not having a big lead in, just like what's different? Oh, there's no tags. And then that hooks them. They're like, oh wait, I always have to cut out tags out of my kids' clothes, and they keep watching. So really simplifying it down. I think for a while, it seemed so much more complicated and people think it has to be this whole elaborate, oh, I don't know how to even get started and I don't know what concept. Just show what you created and see how people respond and you can go from there. But I think simply showing what you've made hooks a lot of people when it's something so unique.
For sure. So what would you say is like the biggest challenge that you face in your business right now?
Yeah, right now. So our biggest challenge would be supply chain and kind of keeping up with that inventory management. We're moving our manufacturers right now to a new country. So getting that all set up again is definitely a huge challenge, and making sure that that timeline's working with the current inventory we have in stock. So we're currently having some sizes and styles that are selling out, and there is this lag that we're trying to bridge and make sure that we're financially set up to be able to do that next production run, but make sure we can do it quickly enough that we're not losing those customers who don't see their size on the website right now.
Makes sense. So like obviously now we're wrapping up Q1 of 2024. So for 2024 to be successful for you, like what are some of your biggest objectives and goals for this year?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the biggest things is we want to go beyond just being on our website. So setting up an Amazon storefront, even if it's just a few key styles that kind of draw people in and test it out with. So that's definitely on our goals for pretty much the first half of 2024, basically when this next production run comes in. And I think from there also figuring out a more sustainable way of bringing customers in that isn't solely relying on organic social, since it is so unpredictable and algorithms are always changing. So
Right.
whether that be influencer marketing or just working more heavily directly with clinics and making sure they have affiliate links and things like that. So that's something we're playing around with, but biggest objective is to have other channels that are bringing sales and customers through.
Makes sense. But like so like essentially that you're looking at Amazon, but is retail also something that you're exploring?
Yeah, it's something I'd love to do. And we've had smaller retailers reach out to us, especially ones that center kind of around inclusion or indoor sensory gyms and playgrounds that have stuff they sell in the lobby. Right now, because we're so small, we do such small production runs that the margin doesn't quite make sense to do a wholesale style yet. But
Right.
it's something I definitely want to be able to do. I just don't want to do it too soon where it's unsustainable and we're not actually able to either make a margin on it or supply them with the inventory they need. So it would be great to get it into 2024 and be able to start doing that by the end of the year, but it might be pushed into Q1 of 2025, depending on how it all goes.
Makes sense. So many companies now are using high-level technology like AI in their business. So do you currently use AI? And if not, like where can AI come in and add value in 2024?
Yeah, we currently don't, but it's definitely something I'm always thinking about when and where it would make the most sense to bring in. One of the things we do have is a chat bot on our website. And right now it's a very simplified, like I put in quick answers. So it's not quite an AI style, but I think that's something that could bring a lot of value because I end up answering a lot of questions directly for customers and communicating. And a lot of them are very similar, but like worded differently, or they don't know they could click on the quick answer. So I think that interaction with customers and either helping with sizing or helping them find the product they want or answering those kind of restock questions, those are all things that I think would be really valuable and save me a lot of time to not having to individually connect with customers directly if it's something that AI could handle.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like especially for your products, I mean, AI for customer service adds lots of value because people have all these questions because like you're pretty much
Oh, yeah.
like I'm creating like this new category that people have no idea
Right.
about.
Yeah, so it's a lot of educational responding and like teaching people. And I think that's something that would be really simple to train an AI to answer super easily. So that's definitely something that would probably be the first thing we added in for AI.
For sure. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this business?
Oh, yeah, there is definitely a lot of advice I knew. I think starting any company, you learn a lot along the way. So you do it differently the second time. But I think the biggest thing would be to join communities of other entrepreneurs sooner and really know to like lean into those relationships and get advice of those small questions, whether it be financing, inventory runs, these big things that you like not sure who to ask and you just kind of try to figure it out. I think there's so much value in connecting with a larger group of other founders, not even just these individual relationships and mentors, because everyone has different experience and expertise. And when you do join a very engaged community, everyone wants to help each other and they want to answer questions for you. And I don't think you realize that when you're first entering the world, you feel almost badly for trying to impede on people and ask them questions. But it is such a hard journey and it feels really good to be able to give back. Like I love when I can answer other founders' questions because people have answered so many of mine. So ask all the questions and try to reach out to as many people as possible and really connect and dive into a network.
Are there certain communities that you've joined that have given you more value?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones that I joined, it's almost a year, last summer. So it falls into I wish I did it sooner, but was Entreprenistas. And it's for
Okay.
female founders, but across all disciplines. So it's not even just for, one specific industry. And there are a lot of people who, say they're marketers or lawyers or other D2C businesses, or they do wholesale. So you get a lot of different perspectives. And I've even found great people to work with that, I found someone who does SEO for our website through this community. And at first we were able to just connect and she understood the mission, what I was doing. And then I really trusted her. So that's another great value you get out of it is trusted people to take on when you need them. But I love the community because it's super responsive. And if you post a question, there'll be at least 3 to 5 people who have it up on their computers and are able to respond pretty quickly or even say, here's my Calendly link, let's chat. So I've definitely found that to be my most engaging community that I've loved.
Is it like a Slack channel or Facebook or?
Yeah, it's sort of Slack. They use Circle on your phone, and then I think
Okay.
it's their own website online. Yeah, I keep the tab open, so I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but very similar style. It just
Right.
looks a little differently than Slack. It's a little more organized for a community. And then they do weekly webinars, so people will do office hours who are just in the community. Like if they do PR, they'll do a PR overview for you,
Right.
or law, or whatever it is. And then they bring in outside speakers too. But yeah, a lot of it is the online, just like chatting platform.
That's awesome. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your business?
Ooh, yeah, I think definitely some of the things we talked about in terms of goals for 2024, I hope would have come into fruition. And I could say those are kind of the next steps. But I think also looking at just what makes sense for expanding, definitely looking into different options for financing, or if it makes sense to get investors. I hope in a year we probably will have gone down that road, and likely we'll have some people on board. Right now, it's been all bootstrapped by me. We did one crowdfunding campaign when I first originally started back in 2020 and started the idea, but a lot of it has just been bootstrapped. So just figuring that out, and I think so much could happen, especially with the wholesale partners, once we're kind of able to figure that out and find the right people to kind of take on as investors in the business.
That's awesome. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social media? I guess best ways to get in contact.
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way to go to our website is sensoryclothes.com. It's also shopsensationalyou.com. It's just a little longer. So I like to have the shorter version for people. And our social medias are all sensational_you, which is YOU. And sensational has the extra E. So it's that play on word. So it's SENSEATIONL. So Sense-ational You. And yeah, that's our same username across all social media platforms. And on our website, you'll find my email and contact information. So people are always, able to reach out to me at any time with whatever questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. All right. Bye.